In the vast darkness of the Pacific Ocean during World War II, when the sun vanished beyond the horizon and most aircraft returned to their bases, another kind of war quietly began. A war fought not with speed or altitude, but with patience, silence, and fear. While the skies emptied and the battlefield seemed to fall asleep, a small group of American pilots prepared to take off. They flew slowly, they flew low, and they flew into complete darkness. This was the Black Cat Squadron, a unit born not from technological superiority, but from desperation, improvisation, and an unbreakable will to strike back. By 1943, the Pacific War had become a brutal contest of endurance. Japanese forces were deeply entrenched across thousands of islands, protected by fortified airfields, coastal defenses, and complex supply routes stretching across vast distances. Daytime bombing missions had become increasingly costly for the Allies. Aircraft were easily detected by radar, intercepted by fighters, and torn apart by anti-aircraft fire. Every mission carried staggering losses. The sky, once a symbol of dominance, had turned into a killing zone, and Allied commanders knew that continuing the same tactics would only lead to more dead pilots. The solution did not arrive in the form of new weapons or revolutionary aircraft. Instead, it came from a radical shift in thinking. The U.S. Navy turned its attention to an airplane many already considered outdated, the PBY Catalina. Originally designed for reconnaissance and long-range patrols, the Catalina was slow, bulky, and vulnerable by every conventional measure. Against modern fighters, it stood little chance, but it possessed qualities no other aircraft could match: exceptional range, remarkable stability at low altitude, and the ability to remain airborne for hours longer than any fighter or bomber. The men chosen for these missions formed what would become known as the Black Cat Squadron. They were not elite aces or celebrated heroes. Many were experienced patrol pilots, accustomed to long, lonely flights over open water. Their aircraft were painted matte black to blend into the night sky. Unnecessary equipment was stripped away to reduce weight. Bomb racks were installed, machine guns repositioned, and navigation lights removed, transforming the Catalina into a nocturnal hunter. Their mission was simple in concept, but terrifying in execution. Attack enemy ships, airfields, and coastal installations at night, when visibility was limited and fear ruled the battlefield. Flying just above the ocean's surface, often lower than enemy radar could reliably detect, Black Cat pilots navigated using moonlight, memory, and instinct. Sometimes, to remain completely silent, they would cut their engines entirely and glide toward their targets, letting gravity carry them forward. In those moments, the aircraft made almost no sound. Only the wind, the creak of metal, and the distant crash of waves below. For Japanese forces, the experience was nightmarish. There was no warning, no approaching engine noise, no clear silhouette in the sky. Bombs would fall suddenly, ships would erupt in flames, and airfields would be destroyed before defenses could react. Searchlights swept the darkness in desperation. Anti-aircraft guns fired blindly into the night. But by the time defenders realized they were under attack, the Black Cats were already gone, fading back into the black sky as if they had never been there. The psychological impact of these attacks was profound, leaving enemy forces tense, exhausted, and constantly on edge. Supply ships that once moved freely at night now operated in fear. Crews slept lightly, expecting death from the sky at any moment. Entire bases were forced to operate under blackout conditions, slowing logistics and draining morale across the Pacific. The Black Cat Squadron didn't just destroy equipment, they shattered confidence and control. Mission after mission, the Black Cats disrupted Japanese operations across the Pacific. They sank barges carrying vital supplies and destroyed aircraft on the ground before they could take off. Every successful sortie forced the Japanese command to divert more resources, manpower, and attention to defending against an invisible enemy. It was warfare by exhaustion, pressure, and fear, and it worked. But the cost was immense. Flying low at night left no room for error. A single misjudged altitude, an unexpected wave, a sudden searchlight, or a lucky anti-aircraft burst could mean instant death. Many crews vanished without a trace, their losses absorbed quietly into classified reports. There were no parades for these men. While fighter aces were celebrated and remembered, the Black Cat pilots fought in near anonymity. Their victories were scattered across dark oceans and forgotten islands, rarely captured in headlines or official history. Yet their impact on the war was undeniable. By turning darkness into a weapon, the Black Cat Squadron changed how air warfare was understood. They proved that innovation did not always require superior technology. Sometimes it required the courage to fight differently. Their tactics would later influence night operations, special forces doctrine, and psychological warfare for generations to come. When the war finally ended, many of these pilots returned home without recognition. They carried memories of missions few could ever fully understand. Their aircraft, once dismissed as obsolete, had become instruments of strategic terror. Today, the story of the Black Cat Squadron remains one of World War II's most haunting chapters. It reminds us that history is not shaped only by massive armies or daylight battles. Sometimes it is shaped by those who chose to fly slowly, silently, and unseen, turning the darkness itself into a weapon.